Economic uncertainty is high around the country and here in North Carolina. The United States credit rating was lowered today, and that could push up borrowing costs. And while the nation waits for the full impact of President Trump's tariff policy, criticism is coming in from analysts, even his own former vice president. Mike Pence led a roundtable discussion today in Raleigh, and he spoke with WRAL's Sean Gallagher, who joins us live. Sean, what did the vice president have to say?
Well, Gerald, he wants to try and educate consumers about the impacts that tariffs could have on their wallets if they're not already seeing that kind of impact. And for a city like ours, where you see skyscrapers as a part of our everyday skyline and cranes as well, that it could slow progress.
It is great to be back in North Carolina.
The former vice president held a 90-minute roundtable discussion around concerns for the current tariff strategy, which he says he would try and echo during his time with Trump.
I might remind him that actually it's American importers that pay the tariff.
Industry professionals from retail to business and beyond shared personal details of how they are being forced to pass along costs to consumers.
Instead of making a 60-cent profit, we lose about $1.50 on each pair of blue jeans we sold.
When you interfere with the free market, when you have no idea how it works, you cause enormous distortions, all negative.
Americans that ultimately pay the cost of tariffs in higher prices as well as lower wages and lost jobs.
The former VP is quick to mention he used tariffs as a negotiation factor during Trump's first term, but it's broad-based tariffs that he feels are hurting Americans now.
We need to stay tough on China, but with regard to free nations around the world, we ought to use the threat of tariffs as leverage to open markets.
I don't envy business leaders who have to make decisions around major investments in this environment.
While Christopher Chung hasn't felt the impacts of tariffs directly, the CEO of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina sees businesses hesitating.
And saying, hey, we might need to rethink and recalculate this investment because these tariffs really could change the economics of it.
My hope is that at the end of the day, that the president stays sensitive to the voice of the American people. They'll recognize that freedom, free markets, free trade is an essential part of American prosperity.
And Pence tells me he still does communicate with President Trump, just not nearly as often, though he feels events like this are his best opportunity to still have the president's ear. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.